Well, everyone says I'm a tiler until you get into a pool tank, and then you realise not a bathroom tiler could do something like this.
In this episode of Ask the Masters, I get a rare opportunity to take you all the way across the Atlantic to England, the UK, and introduce you to Robert Faulkner, a world-class tile setter that tiles all tile pools. As he's sitting in one of his projects, I get to do this incredible interview. Designworks is a supplier of high-end tile for commercial use. The brand's dynamic corporate strategy is based on providing stunning, versatile tile solutions to architects, contractors, the hotel, and restaurant industries. Its a wide range of products include swimming pools and spa, mosaics and tiles, porcelains, glass, and stone tiles. Hey, it's Randy Beard, and I am back with Ask the Masters, and boy, do I have a special guest today for all of you masters in the United States. We have gone and launched all the way across the pond. We have a world-class master tile setter, Rob Faulkner, on a job site right there in England. Rob, where are you today? Where are you?
Hi, Randy. I'm in a place in the UK called Stafford, on a very bespoke contract that I've started 12 weeks ago. It's very high-end. There's a lot of detail gone into this contract. Today, I've just started tiling the pool itself. Prior to the pool, we've been on I don't know whether you can see behind me, a 3D feature wall that I've done in the background there. We're doing all the pool surround, single slot detail, which is coping stoned, bespoke made. A lot of the things have been cut on site in situ. But no, it's been quite an intense contract, to be fair, but a nice one, and I'm looking forward to the end results.
Oh boy, we can't wait to parallel you along with this. So Rob, why don't you tell our listeners over here in the United States, how did you get into tiling and then inevitably tiling what you and I call tanks or swimming pools? How did you get started in this industry?
I kind of fell into it, really. I mean, I'm actually a carpenter by trade, and I went into construction site management. And while I was working on a couple of contracts there, one of the contracts came up that was had a swimming pool, steam rooms, saunas, ice rooms. I was running the contract, site manager, and I got on well with the guys who were working on the pools, and I kind of seen a few things being a carpenter that I don't think they was doing correctly, to be fair. So I had a chat with them. I said I'd try to do this and do that, and I wanted to start telling them their job. And then the owner of the company, basically, when I'd left that contract, handed it over, went to the next contract, and then I got a phone call out the blue. Would I be interested in becoming a contracts manager in the pool industry? After sitting down and thinking about it, negotiated rates and stuff, and then I kind of thought, you know what, I've never been in the industry before, the pool industry. It kind of appeals to me. I like to change and switch things up a little bit if I can. So that's how it ended up, and I took the contract, and I did 10 years contracts managing for a company, a pool company, which I was in control of all the labour, materials, the setting out, everything, the detail side of things. And it was absolutely crazy busy. I mean, I think I did the first year was about £4.5 million worth of work with hotel chains, which was up and down the country. A lot of travelling, to be honest. I mean, the UK is tiny compared to the United States, but travelling from Scotland to England, the bottom end of England, and the miles was crazy. I enjoyed it. I was in control of it. It was like I ran a company inside a company. That's how it felt. My bosses didn't bother me. Everything was on schedule, handed over. The money was correct and everything. So it was. And then I kind of got a little bit. I kind of got thought, seeing some of the guys in the industry, and I knew quite a lot of people. I decided to just go freelance and do things myself. I had tilers working for me, and tilers came, and everyone says I'm a tiler until you get into a pool tank, and then you realise not a bathroom tiler could do something like this. So I went through quite a few tilers over the years, the 10 years. Kept a good squad of lads together. When I got a good team, kept them together, and then I became a partner with one of my tilers at the time. That's how I started to go freelance myself, and then we went our separate ways. I was more into this this kind of thing, what I'm doing now, bespoke kind of work. I like things with detail, help with the design side of things. That's what I'm all about, really. And when you have a good eye for things, I mean, even now I'm doing this contract. This is my own contract, so I do tile swimming pools for quite a lot of pool companies in the UK, and that's where I'm at now. I'm still plugging away doing it.
Wow, what an interesting story! Unbelievable, Rob. This is this project that you're on now is really interesting, and we can see that you started to set the tile down. Before you stuck the tile, what did you do to this tank that's behind you? What was your prep? What did you find when you first got there? And then what are the steps that you've gone through to reach today where we're starting to see some tile?
Well, basically on this one, the actual pool itself was done by a main contractor. So as regards the floating out and the rendering, we didn't do anything to the pool tank. It was done by another prior to us coming. So everything's been done for us on the pool itself. We've taken on the screening of the surrounds, the single slot detail, the tiling of the pool, the 3D feature wall. At the very back, I don't know whether you can see it from me, I've got steam. We've built and formed a steam room. We've done a massage room. In the very back area, we've done, it's all vanity units and very bespoke work, like tile rails, all worked out to full cube of tiles. So it's been quite interesting, to be honest. One thing I will say is regards when I tile pools is you've always got to be very conscious of when you're tiling onto a render or a screed. Basically, I mean, I always damp mine down because there's a lot of suction. There's an awful lot of suction in sand and cement render or whatever render's used. But not. I mean, the UK. I always do it all the time. Belt and braces in the UK. Yourself over in the States, you probably it's more intense because the heat is severe. So, but I have looked at some of the YouTube things and the podcasts and stuff what you do in the States, and you see yours are all tented. Whereas in its inclement weather, when it's raining, it's all sheeted up. It's warm, blowing, warm air in there, which is you need the screed, the adhesives and everything, and the grouting has to be at the right temperature. And also in the you have heaters in when it's cold in the States. So you also have the cool air blowing in. You've got to keep the guys happy as well. To be fair, it's all about keeping everybody. You can't work in we did a pool just only recently down in Kent, and probably 6 months back now. It was 90 degrees. There was literally in a pool tank 90 degrees, and you could feel the heat on the tiles. So we had to kind of sheet over where we was working to try and find some shade. And what I always do is, obviously when the sun rises, I always work in the shade. And as it sets coming round, we keep working in the shade as much as we can. And then it gets later on and it cools down a bit. Then we do the floor, a section of the floor kind of thing. So it's all about the right temperatures. And like I said in the screeds, I wet mine down. I mean, you won't be able to see where you are now, but all the pool tank basically, I grid everything out. Everything's done to grids. So there's chalk lines everywhere and laser lines, so everything's done to a grid. So when I know it's three sheets wide, it's 2 sheets long, because the sheets that we use, which I'll just get one here for you. The sheets that we use, like in the UK, are longer than they are wide. I prefer these sheets for the simple reason is, well, not the simple reason, but when you had like 300 square sheets, if you don't tile absolutely correctly, you can see the sheets in the wall. And that really is, that's down to bad fixing. We can all tile square sheets and have it right. You'd also can have a tiler who's not very familiar with the pool industry, and you'll be able to identify where those sheets are. With these sheets, if I could zoom in, I'd show you. You won't know where any of the sheets are now they're down. So I prefer these kind of tiles. I know that in America you have quite a lot of offset, which I do understand, because quite a lot of the pools that I've seen on the YouTube, like Amy Denny, things like that, people you have a lot of pool tanks, and if you've got a pool tank that's like a hopper and it's got radiuses in the bottom as well, is these kind of tiles, then you struggle because you've got radiuses. Now I've done one like the pool like that, you have diminishing cuts kind of thing to try and make it right again and do it in sections. But what I get with the offset, with the opposite and that, it's easier for, when it's an offset tile, then you can hide things when you're tweaking things kind of thing. But no, I've watched quite a few podcasts and stuff, and it's quite interesting to see how other people do things. About the. I know you do quite a lot on the substrata as regards renders and screeds, and I watch like the Oceanside thing about how they fix tiles, which that was quite interesting really when I watched the Oceanside one as regards the hammering on with a piece of 4x2, and I'm thinking, wow, I wouldn't do that. But I use a squeegee and I can tamp on anything, and I know that it's going to be a flat, and it's a case of looking at things and having an eye for detail. That's the main thing.
So could you grab that sheet of tile again? I'd love to look at that, because I know our listeners are going to have a lot of questions about that. So tell us about the tile, how the tile is actually put together. Is this first, it looks like it must be a custom blend. What is this?
Basically, it's a patented product, and it's on the back of the sheet. I'll show you the back of the sheet. It's got a joint point system on the back of the sheet. So where many have tried and done is a silicon back. This is a patented product. So now I know that I get 95% pick up on the tile, minimum 95%. Whereas if you got a lot of mesh back tiles, you don't get that. You're not guaranteed. You're also, with mesh back tiles, you've got problems with debonding. These are a flexible tile. I can move these around with no problems at all. You do that with a mesh back tile, especially if they've been stored outside for a week, which happens on sites where the tiles turn up prior to you getting there to fix them. You get the sheets and lift them up, they're falling off the sheet. So I never use mesh back tiles anymore, to be honest. If I can help it, if a customer is adamant that they want mesh back tiles, then fine. But with the backing on those, they're a perfect tile. They're very, like I say, flexible. Also, they've got a very rounded edge on them as well, which I like, because the rounded edge, you probably can't see that, but they're very smooth edge. The kind of half-rounded kind of thing. So if you're doing feature work, like on radiuses, that'll bend perfectly. You have no sharp edges whatsoever. Not a one. Now, the old 20mm, have I got a sheet of 20mm tiles? I've got a sheet of, I'll just show you these, sorry, Randy. These are what we used to use. I don't use these anymore. I threw all mine in the skip 7 years ago. Any samples that I had. They're a mesh back tile. Those, you leave them in the. They turn up on a site a week before you get to site, and they're left out in the cold. I can shake those; they would all fall off. Also, what I don't like about these is when you do radius work with tiles like this, they're razor sharp. Those edges, razor sharp. So if you're doing things like lounges in steam rooms, things like that, any curve work on radius seats, you can feel them. Underneath, when you sit on things, you can feel them, and they're very, very sharp. They also, the mesh back, what I found out over the years of doing this, is a lot of the mesh back on some of them, this is not as bad as some, but some of them, I just feel that the epoxy they fix the mesh to the tile, it forms a debonding issue, because what you're doing when you're serrating your adhesive in, and you're fixing these down, tamping these in, is the adhesive can't bleed through, because the epoxy that's on the back of this mesh basically stops it. And these tiles in particular, and I've had this 10 years back where they popped off in steam rooms, in pool tanks, in various places. I don't use these anymore. Never used them at all whatsoever. And I understand that if a client does say these are going to be mesh back tiles, then yes, I would look at the project. I would also probably add more money to the project, because it takes more time. With the other tiles, I could probably knock 2 or 3 days off a good sized pool using these tiles.
Oh, no kidding.
So it's all about time, and sometimes you're under pressure to get one contract completed prior to going to a next one, and especially now with the COVID thing happening. We found that we had all the hotel works finished, just closed. Domestic pools didn't want you being in the pool or in the house, so we kind of had a spell of probably 2 or 3 months. But luckily I was a carpenter by trade, so I did an house refurbishment while I was out the pool industry. And then now it's now you come out the other side and I've got work. Everyone's saying, can you do this? Can you do that? This particular project's very bespoke, and this has taken up a lot of time. We should have finished this 3 months ago. But because of COVID, the site closed and everything, and then now we're back trying to chase our tail and trying to get things back on track again now.
Wow. Fantastic. So do you think you're going to be there for 3, 4, 5 more weeks?
I'm hoping to finish the second week in January, hopefully. That's the plan, because I've got another bespoke contract, very not quite as intense as this, but quite a big contract to start in the second week in January. But I'm kind of, I'll have to complete this one first. One thing I don't do is let people down. It's one job at a time kind of thing. You can't take on too much. I've seen it done before. And then increasing labour, you have guys you can't trust. Something happens, the client's on the phone. It could be 5 hours from where I'm working, and then you got to go down. And so I'd rather do things with a small team that I have and do it ourselves, and then do one project at a time and not trying to take on everything. You can't do everything.
Wow, great advice. Fantastic advice. Well, Rob, I'm sure we're going to have a lot of questions on Ask the Masters, and I'm hoping that you'll allow us to come back in and interview you one more time, maybe when you move on to that new job in January, or we get the final pictures of this. That would be fantastic.
I think this one, when it's more progressed, we've got all the wall tiling to do, and I think when it's more progressed, maybe we could do some kind of a rolling footage where I can kind of do a walk round of the contract and everything that we've done, probably on completion. That'd be fine. I'd be more than happy to come back to Ask the Masters and any questions or any interviews. Because I'm as like yourself, and I'm passionate about pools, and that's what it's all about, really.
Well, once we get you back over here, we'll have to meet up at one of the next
maybe one day I'll be able to
shows,
come tiling in the States.
And we can't wait to get you over here to the States once this whole thing clears up in 2021.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, thanks for taking us on a tour today, Rob. This was absolutely fabulous. I want to get this out to our listeners as quickly as possible. So if anybody has any questions for Rob, please feel free to send them to me, and I've got him on my WhatsApp, and we can text him back and forth. He is Rob Faulkner. He is the UK's premier tile installer, a true master at his craft. Thanks, Rob. Appreciate it immensely.